As terrified civilians flee, a purple-haired youth runs toward the danger, forcing through the panicked crowd while something monstrous looms ahead. Yet instead of freezing, the barefoot kid steels himself for action, because a blue-haired guardian promises she can handle the crisis. Far away atop Everest, Earth's guardian sentinel stands ready, while observers praise his divine power and mysterious partner. As a small aircraft approaches and the veteran welcomes the challenge, until an enormous hand crashes through the frozen mountainside, revealing Sentinel's supposed partner is a colossal blue-haired woman, whose sheer presence leaves the pilot recording every incredible second, unaware the giant guardian is casually bathing among the clouds, where steam rolls off her body and blankets the peak, until the approaching craft casts its shadow across the snow, prompting her to turn as the intrusion finally registers, though she only wonders whether more enemies have arrived and reaches down while the aircraft hovers beside her, just as Sentinel catches a tiny glowing orb overhead, exposing an arsenal of linked equipment stored within their shared system. Then the Giantess activates their connection through a violet core, and Sentinel's body surges forward as the link takes hold. The connection instantly wraps the Giantess in sleek battle armor, while Sentinel launches forward and declares he is going in, using their synchronized power to close the impossible distance, before a devastating impact tears open the frozen battlefield as the armored Giantess rockets through the airborne debris, and Sentinel shapes a radiant sphere between his hands, wearing the calm smile of someone completely certain he will win, until her colossal strike crashes down with world-shaking force, and somewhere beyond reality, a vast hand reaches toward Earth. Behind it, a shadowed beauty regards the planet like a toy, while ordinary objects suddenly tumble through a collapsing city, where the reincarnated youth faces an enormous descending finger, and the cosmic woman's glowing eyes lock directly onto him, making the shaken boy recognize someone he cannot possibly forget. Then their gazes connect across the planet's mysterious system, triggering an armored impact that fractures the world around them. Afterward, he awakens reborn exactly 3 years in the past, back in 10th grade, where his teacher explains this strange world, and schedules everyone's awakening aptitude test for the following Monday, leaving the class buzzing while their returned classmate quietly processes everything. As he recalls how testing permanently separates ordinary citizens from awakened ones, with men becoming telekinetic warriors while women grow into towering giantesses, and matching mental frequencies allowing both sides to form combat partnerships. These facts are already painfully familiar to the pink-haired returnee, especially when Wang Xiang demands that the teacher turn around, letting the shameless student secretly photograph her from behind. Because apparently future superpowers cannot purchase basic human decency, but the furious teacher catches Wang Xiang and calls him out, rushing across the classroom before he can hide the evidence, while the returnee watches her stumble dangerously close to him. Recalling her weak talent limits her height to roughly 2 meters, yet her intimidating presence still makes the classroom instantly behave as she snatches Wang Xiang's phone and raises her leg, only for the device to ring unexpectedly during the confrontation, giving the startled teacher enough time to regain control, though the room erupts as she wrestles the offender down, and the returnee grimly remembers what will soon happen to her. Wang Xiang's retaliation ultimately leaves the teacher destroyed and silenced, while his gifted family's settlement ensures nobody faces real consequences, and that memory brings the returnee's attention toward Zhang Lu, a brilliant girl who earns perfect scores yet remains painfully isolated, like a lone blue whale whose mental frequency nobody can receive. Lu Zhang remembers her terrifying transformation before Earth's eventual destruction, realizing his rebirth may require becoming her partner and stopping her, so he bolts from class despite the teacher calling his name, ignoring her parental warning because this timeline matters far more. Though he briefly meets her eyes before continuing onward, promising privately that he will save the doomed teacher too, leaving her completely puzzled by his strangely confident smile, while Lu Zhang vows to change absolutely everything this time. With only 3 years remaining, his desperate countdown officially begins, and he immediately reaches a ruined clearing beyond the city, recognizing the exact location from his previous life, where a miraculous equipment orb once fell before scavengers arrived, namely the bridge orb, which stabilizes and strengthens mental links. Around it, millistic dark matter crackles across the scarred ground, the same substance that awakens warriors and giantesses with evolutionary potential, yet also opens monster-filled wormholes that awakened fighters must seal. But Lu Zhang retained every ounce of his former mental power, meaning this seemingly ordinary student already commands level 30 warrior strength, and Lu Zhang steps directly into the raging wormhole, letting the unstable gateway swallow him without the slightest resistance. Nearby, an orb-carrying scout senses something unusual around the breach, only to discover the level 3 portal has already stabilized, drawing several opportunistic students toward its valuable monster drops. Their scout suspects another perception orb detected the same prize, while a sharp-tongued girl assumes some clueless kid rushed inside, since no powerful fighter should wander this remote wasteland, so the group decides to wait and rob whoever returns. Before that, their nervous members begin pairing up for protection, with one overeager boy suggesting they should somehow warm up, and the bespectacled girl agreeing only to finish quickly, until his hand reaches toward her with painfully obvious intentions, proving their battle preparation has wandered completely off schedule. Yet the embarrassed girl still kneels beside her supposed partner, and their awkward mental synchronization finally produces visible invisible energy, prompting another student to eagerly demand a place in their team. Though his shameless interruption earns an immediate angry rejection, even after he asks whether she might accept his partnership, because the fed-up girl answers with a brutal airborne kick, then plants him headfirst into the ground for good measure. Sitting on the defeated idiot, she makes her boundaries unmistakable, warning that romance before battle belongs exclusively in his dreams, while the others stare at the wreckage of his brilliant strategy, and the pigtail girl wonders why she joined these clowns, just as the wormhole suddenly convulses with far greater force, sending dark energy through the gateway and changing everything inside. Deep below, Luzon confronts a pack of unfamiliar canine monsters, whose weaponized tongues reveal a species absent from his former timeline, and whose unique equipment drop never activated in his past civilization. Rather than panic, he studies the creatures with growing confidence. As the hungry pack charges toward its apparently helpless meal, unaware level 30 mental power lets him physically manipulate nearby objects, so Luzon closes his fist and unleashes raw telekinesis, lifting every monster helplessly into the air at once, before smashing the entire pack against the surrounding stone walls. A final clenched motion crushes their remaining resistance, leaving Luzon completely untouched by the desperate attack, while the defeated monsters lie scattered across the crater below, and he prepares to extract dark matter into new equipment orbs. Suddenly, Luzhang hears a powerful heartbeat behind the silence as dark energy gathers the fallen creatures into one writhing mass, rebuilding their broken forms around a rapidly expanding central body, until a towering canine silhouette rises above its revived pack, proving his previous attack achieved absolutely nothing lasting. Now facing a monster 10 levels stronger, Luzhang finally feels challenged, while the giant hound lunges before he can reposition, moving with the terrifying speed of an ultra-rare psychic predator, whose glowing eyes drag Luzhang directly into mental darkness. In a heartbeat, the creature suppresses and relocates his consciousness, an ability ordinary fighters cannot resist through physical strength alone, because even trained minds struggle against psychic manipulation inside themselves. Luzhang awakens exposed within his own sea of consciousness, where the monstrous hound immediately begins tearing through his defenses, cracking the surrounding mental space with every savage movement, while his spiritual body floats helplessly beneath the invading beast. Fortunately, specialized warriors counter such attacks through visualization techniques, forming spiritual constructs like bronze cauldrons for protective shielding, suppressive pagodas, divine weapons, and other disciplined mental images. Though Luzhang previously cultivated the exceptionally rare world tree technique, yet his reborn mind now reaches for an apocalyptic visualization, searching every remembered disaster for something powerful enough to matter, until he recalls the planet-crushing finger belonging to Zhonglu, then forms a hand seal and summons that impossible image, flooding his sea of consciousness with surging white energy. The psychic hound attacks through the mental storm without hesitation, only to sense an overwhelming presence forming above it as Zhonglu's shadowed likeness emerges across the entire mindscape, bringing the same colossal hand that once threatened Earth, whose descending fingertip makes the giant monster look microscopic before crushing the psychic invader beneath unimaginable pressure. The resulting mental detonation shatters everything within Lu Zhang's consciousness, leaving only a blue spiritual flame wrapped around its core, which the world tree absorbs through a newly sprouting branch, triggering a golden burst that nourishes his reconstructed mind. Back outside, the alpha hound collapses as its spirit vanishes, though Luzhang coughs because his visualization crushed him too. Luckily, surviving the backlash raises his mental power 5 levels, proving both visualization techniques can evolve alongside Zhonglu, but repeating that glorious shortcut carries an enormous cost. Luzhang collapses, unable to move his battered physical body, and lies motionless beside the fading remains of his enemy. Still, his fingertips barely reach the glowing violet orb, securing the treasure just before the wormhole begins disappearing, though approaching voices warn that his troubles are not finished. The waiting scavengers arrive and find him helpless on the ground, but their tall companion refuses to rob an injured student, making Luzhang marvel at how ridiculous these classmates are. When one thief throws a knife, telekinesis instantly reverses its path, and the terrified attacker drops while begging for his hand. Luzhang follows with a crushing psychic shockwave, blasting the ambushers backward and splitting the ground beneath them, a feat their stunned observer recognizes as level 30 telekinesis. One robber lands draped across a broken stone pillar, while exhausted Luzhang settles against the rubble like a throne. Even injured, he dryly condemns their embarrassingly early criminal career, though the tall girl scolds him for sounding like an adult, and Luzhang silently evaluates the remaining opponent's abilities. His earlier orbs are gone, and his mental power nearly exhausted, leaving only the mysterious violet artifact clutched in his hand. Luzhang activates it despite lacking the required level 50 endurance, but immediately realizes something about this orb feels wrong, because the supposed bridge orb is another artifact entirely. Meanwhile, two robbers establish mental links with their female partners, surrounding both pairs with matching golden combat energy. One giantess receives flame fists that ignite both hands, while the bespectacled partner equips a simple but sharp blade. Both women charge as their partners maintain synchronization behind them, Yet Lu Zhang greets their coordinated assault with a knowing smile, then channels the violet orb while blocking their opening attacks. Testing its peculiar response, he turns their own momentum against them, and both women suddenly expand far beyond their normal size. Their startled cries fill the collapsing battlefield as growth accelerates, forcing their bodies through an uncontrolled combat transformation. Because the psychic artifact has merged both mental links together, Lu Zhang realizes this is definitely no ordinary bridge orb, while blue tendrils emerge and coil around the transformed partners, who struggle desperately as the binding grows increasingly tight, until both giantesses become completely trapped by the artifact's power, and their linked warriors suffer the same overwhelming feedback. Both mental connections collapse, leaving the defeated partners completely separated, as one robber realizes his spiritual body was forcibly extracted, then desperately reaches toward the partner he can no longer sense. Their severed equipment orb rolls uselessly across the shattered ground, while the restored women collapse beside the equally exhausted Lu Zhang. His test confirms an undocumented mind union orb with astonishing properties, capable of linking several spiritual bodies through one shared network, so he cautiously tests its resonance with the first volunteer, before a second partner joins the increasingly unstable connection. The first woman reacts intensely as synchronized energy floods her body, and impatiently demands control over the strengthening process, while Lu Zhang reaches out to stabilize their fluctuating frequencies. The strain quickly becomes painful enough to alarm everyone, yet he remains curious about the artifact's true limits, especially after learning its feedback might accelerate giantess growth. Their messy experiment triggers another hidden function within the orb, and the dark-haired partner warns she cannot contain it much longer, just before an overwhelming surge tears through the connection, causing a blue tendril to erupt around her body until Lu Zhang forcefully ends the dangerously escalating test. The dark-haired partner recoils while struggling to recover her breath as the living artifact lashes outward and throws everyone apart. One transformed woman watches the chaos with growing alarm, before a gigantic limb crashes down beside tiny Lu Zhang. He dismisses the embarrassing distraction and refocuses on survival, realizing the orb reacts physically while rejecting his conscious commands. Confident it no longer threatens him, he lowers his guard, and a predatory eye suddenly opens inside the artifact. Living armor erupts across Lu Zhang's shoulder and begins consuming him, forcing the nearby women backward as its pressure rapidly expands. The parasitic shell spreads farther over his body and mind, then blasts his companions away before they can interfere. Worse, its regenerative code has embedded itself within his spiritual form, threatening to devour his consciousness unless he surrenders completely. Lu Zhang answers by summoning Zhang Lu's colossal image overhead, though the parasite boasts that erosion will complete before impact. Dark armor continues swallowing his arm while he fights internally, but Lu Zhang refuses compromise and chooses mutual destruction instead, his unwavering eyes daring the creature to finish the contest, until Zhang Lu's remembered presence coolly crushes its confidence, and Lu Zhang absorbs the parasite while preserving its useful abilities. Around him, the defeated scavengers remain unconscious across the crater, while his recovered mental power makes leaving possible again. He surveys the enormous battlefield before finally walking away, though one wounded robber demands answers about their severed links. Lu Zhang explains the corrupted artifact would have killed them anyway, then reveals a future level 30 wormhole containing valuable equipment, calling that priceless information payment for taking the orb. He names his living prize the Soul Bond Orb, the crucial link that could make Zhang Lu his partner. With that goal secured, he resumes preparing to prevent Earth's destruction. Back in the cities, headlights suddenly stop beside him, and his teacher orders the injured student into her car. Lu Zhang remembers his promise and accepts her unexpected help, while recalling this 28-year-old woman's deeply troubled future. Her weak awakening barely raised her height beyond normal limits, so she entered teaching at 21 and mastered basic combat studies. She also trusted childhood sweetheart Pei Yongji, a level 8 warrior, who exploited her loyalty while pursuing wealthier awakened partners. Yet his family connections made him useful to Wang Xiang's ambitions, exposing a society that flatters strength while mercilessly exploiting weakness. As the teacher drives, Lu Zhang reflects on that ugly hierarchy, wondering whether kindness can survive people who reward pure selfishness. He concludes that human relationships remain more troublesome than monsters, just before the teacher suddenly slams on her brakes. She demands an explanation as the car skids across the road, but a 10-meter wormhole has appeared directly inside the city. Lu Zhang cannot understand why this level 10 breach arrived early, especially with his powers depleted and no combat partner available. Outside, terrified civilians call peace officers while abandoning the street, leaving Lu Zhang determined to act before official reinforcements arrive. The teacher starts driving again despite the obvious danger, realizing early wormhole stages offer the best chance for clearance. She calls Pei Yongji and begs him to come quickly, but his dismissive response proves courage was never his specialty. Even a level 10 outbreak could cause mass casualties before help arrives, and a blue claw already reaches through the unstable gateway. The teacher spots the emerging hand and freezes in alarm, recognizing a humanoid monster instead of an ordinary beast. She warns Pei Yongji their relationship ends unless he helps, while precious seconds continue racing across the dashboard clock. With the breach nearby, the teacher refuses to wait passively and drives straight toward the creature emerging into traffic. The glowing monster lunges as her car rapidly closes distance, but but she swerves hard and uses the vehicle as a weapon. Afterward, she retrieves a heavy equipment case from the trunk, wondering why Pei Yongji never appears until he needs her. The case opens to reveal carefully arranged combat artifacts, and she equips herself before approaching the wormhole alone. Her focused gaze searches the abandoned street for movement, while remembered training explains mental links and enhancement orbs, where paired students practice coordinated strikes against distant targets. One young giantess charged bravely beside her concentrating warrior, only to discover raw enthusiasm cannot replace accurate aim, before finally landing a heavy blow through synchronized power. Their instructors celebrated the hit as proof the system worked, then corrected the pair's terrible strategy and mismatched equipment choices. Remembering such heroes, the teacher questions whether Pei will appear, though experience tells her he will probably avoid the danger, so she stops waiting and prepares to fight by herself. The creature emerges as a humanoid blood-sucking demon resembling a vampire, officially level 10, with only one specimen currently visible. Unfortunately, even that single monster can overwhelm low-level awakened fighters, and its intelligent gaze immediately searches for fresh blood. Scholars believe these demons are corrupted humans that evolve rapidly, especially after drinking enough blood to awaken additional power. Their sinister abilities then multiply, making every delayed response disastrous, so the teacher knows she must stop it immediately. Her eyes sharpen when the monster vanishes from sight, leaving only an empty street where it stood moments earlier. Remembering its hunting pattern, she predicts an attack from behind, and the grinning demon materializes directly beside her neck. The teacher senses danger and twists away at once, narrowly avoiding its first strike while losing her balance. Her counter sends the surprised predator crashing across the pavement, but the blood-sucking demon rises almost immediately from the impact. It accelerates again, closing the distance with frightening speed, while nearby Lu Zhang analyzes how the fight must end. Telekinetic speed can be strengthened, but timing remains decisive, and Giantess' eyes cannot track the weakness hidden near its neck, so Lu Zhang secretly reshapes the terrain through telekinesis. The teacher loses sight of her target and scans desperately, while the blood-sucking demon prepares another confident ambush. Its rushing foot catches the ridge Lu Zhang just raised, sending the surprised vampire tumbling violently across the street. The teacher realizes an unseen ally manipulated the battlefield as level 35 Lu Zhongzhong watches quietly from nearby cover. Before he intervenes again, Peiyongji finally strolls onto the scene, accompanied by 4-meter giantess Xiaoqing, who resents helping ordinary citizens. The relieved teacher calls Pei closer before the monster recovers. Her hopeful expression meets his cold and calculating stare, but Pei only admits she has been somewhat useful. He hands Xiaoqing several expensive equipment orbs for battle, and the towering partner catches every artifact without effort. Their loadout grants triple attributes, acceleration, and freezing gauntlets, while the vampire studies this new threat from below. Xiaoqing activates her equipment and looms over the battlefield, asking whether the comparatively tiny demon is ready, then launches the first enhanced strike without waiting, smashing its face before the predator can react. Xiaoqing chains another attack and promises no next life, planting her enhanced boot squarely into the demon's path before the resulting impact tears open the pavement. Laughing confidently, she follows with another crushing downward strike, driving the blood-sucking demon deep into the broken street. Its battered body crashes among the debris far below, and Xiaoqing boasts that borrowed equipment makes fighting ridiculously easy. Pei agrees, then insults the teacher for wasting valuable orbs, asking whether she objects to surrendering everything useful, while the disappointed woman can only remain silent. Xiaoqing stretches and prepares to deliver one final blow, but the fallen vampire's eye suddenly flashes with renewed awareness. It rises casually, wiping fresh blood from its mouth, and the attackers wonder where that unexpected blood originated. A crimson glow answers as both eyes transform completely, releasing a violent aura that surges around the demon. Xiaoqing senses danger, but the change has already begun, while the wormhole expands dramatically to 30 meters across. Pei realizes consumed blood has completed the monster's evolution, then blames the teacher for failing to explain everything. The evolved blood-sucking demon emerges from a column of white energy, wearing the satisfied grin of a predator newly reborn. Pei orders Xiaoqing to prepare for another coordinated assault, while the teacher warns its speed and recovery have multiplied. It disappears again, leaving the fighters searching empty space until she notices its fully crimson eyes mark Viscount awakening. Completely red eyes identify the first dangerous noble blood stage, followed by mixed gold, full gold, and dark gold evolutions, corresponding to Viscount, Count, Marquis, Duke, and Progenitor ranks. Even a blood Viscount can infiltrate cities and massacre thousands, so the teacher tracks disturbed dust moving along their left flank, and Xiaoqing pivots toward the nearly invisible attacker. Unfortunately, the demon already appears directly behind her neck, landing a sudden wound before she can fully turn. P commands an immediate counterattack with her enhanced fists, allowing Xiaoqing to slam the vampire away again, but its return strike sends the giantess flying backward, hurling her helplessly across the fractured combat zone. Pei panics because his commands cannot catch the enemy, while the teacher rushes forward despite the obvious danger. The demon's dark aura spreads like a towering spectral maw, and Pei suddenly realizes it has targeted Xiaoqing's blood. Her wound erupts under the vampire's remote control, leaving the terrified giantess screaming for someone to save her. The teacher orders Xiaoqing to freeze the injury immediately, watching anxiously as the dangerous blood loss continues until ice seals the wound beneath a blue protective shell. Xiaoqing slowly steadies herself, hurt but temporarily safe, while a massive crimson sphere gathers above the battlefield. The vampire draws the suspended blood toward its waiting body, swallowing the stolen power and igniting another transformation. Even Pei's fresh injury contributes more blood to the monster, which advances while clutching the gathered energy in one hand. Satisfaction replaces caution as its noble physiology strengthens, and a blazing golden core appears within its crimson eye. The completed evolution cloaks the demon in violent red power, while the nearby wormhole reacts with matching dark energy. Now level 55, the creature exceeds their combined strength and confidently announces it will leave the wormhole, then slaughter every passerby unfortunate enough to remain nearby. The vampire's vision fills with blood as ambition overwhelms restraint, and its transformed body begins shaping the stolen power, sending crimson tendrils spiraling through the air around it. Left unchecked, it could drain millions across entire cities, then move onward and repeat the same catastrophe elsewhere. Every conquered district would become fuel for further evolution, until this predator threatened humanity itself with extinction. The teacher understands that nightmare and orders everyone to fight, but Pei only cares about escaping the dangerous situation alive. Worse, official peacekeepers still have not reached the battlefield, so Pei and Xiaoqing immediately turn and run. When the vampire attacks again, Pei realizes they need bait, deciding someone else must remain behind to guarantee his escape. He suddenly strikes the teacher and knocks her backward, leaving her completely stunned by the cowardly betrayal, while Pei flees and abandons his childhood friend completely. The blood-sucking demon catches her head in one claw and leans toward her neck for another fatal feeding, until Lu Zhang's telekinesis kicks the monster away. The teacher scolds him for returning, utterly confused by his arrival. Lu Zhang admits his fragile body cannot sustain enhanced telekinesis. Still, he knows saving the world ultimately depends upon giantesses, even as the teacher orders him away and volunteers herself. Pei pauses nearby, shocked that a student challenged the monster, but Xiaoqing convinces him to forget everything and keep fleeing. Lu Zhang coldly asks whether he permitted either coward to leave, then blocks their retreat with a massive telekinetic barrier. Recalling the demon's blood evolution, he identifies one final vulnerability and asks the startled teacher to become his temporary partner. Her disbelief forces Lu Zhang to repeat the urgent request, though she calls it nonsense and orders him to run. He produces the soul bond orb and proposes a mock combat exam, reminding her that partnership depends entirely on cooperation. Their hands meet as Lu Zhang establishes a mental link, connecting them directly across a vast blue spiritual bridge. The teacher appears within that shared mindscape and stares downward, while Lu Zhang invites her forward and asks for trust. She feels the connection and wonders whether the vision is real, so he threatens to pull her over if necessary, and her spiritual body rushes helplessly through the bond. The teacher recalls two accepted combat styles for link partners, but Lu Zhang chooses full mental unification over distant support. Outside, the blood-sucking demon recovers amid scattered debris, snapping upright with an unnatural surge of power, and smiling because its prey appears completely defenseless. The teacher materializes within their shared spiritual battlefield, where Lu Zhang declares their improvised examination already complete. As the vampire rushes closer, she prepares to confront it, while Lu Zhang launches her spiritual form directly into action. She demands control of her body through telekinetic enhancement, then charges with speed far beyond her usual limits. Her first empowered blow sends the vampire flying backward, and Lu Zhang notes she has not even fully grown. Behind her, a colossal shadow reflects the potential still sleeping, before the teacher stomps the demon into the ground. Lu Zhang equips her with giant serpent tendon shackles, then adds serpent fang gauntlets capable of piercing tough enemies. The furious blood-sucking demon roars and attacks once more, slicing forward as the teacher meets its renewed assault, her red sneakers braced against the fractured pavement. A spinning kick drives the restrained predator farther across the battlefield, while the teacher keeps moving before it can recover. Her serpent gauntlet flashes toward the demon's exposed body, forcing the creature to gather power for a desperate counter, yet the teacher blocks its slashing arm at close range. Xiaoqing watches in disbelief as the vampire gets pushed backward, and Pei cannot identify the invisible barrier assisting her. Desperate to compete, they establish their own mental link, entering a turbulent shared mindscape shaped like an endless ocean. A towering wave rises as their synchronized power begins building, but Lu Zhang also enters that spiritual battlefield with his teacher. Pei realizes the soul bond orb can link multiple minds, just before Lu Zhang strikes his unprotected spiritual body. The attack breaks Pei's concentration and draws immediate blood, leaving him choking because his spirit itself was wounded. Xiaoqing Xiaoqing lunges toward Luzong to defend her partner, but he orders the teacher to stabilize their own connection. Xiaoqing instead demands more power and rejects Pei's weakened link, while Luzong mocks her for hesitating within striking range, and a violet equipment disc rockets between the combatants. Xiaoqing catches the artifact and immediately senses unfamiliar control, realizing her physical body is being forcibly directed as well. Unable to resist, she charges straight toward the vampire, which braces itself and meets the unexpected attack head-on. Their collision sends Xiaoqing tumbling across the battlefield, but the teacher follows with another heavy gauntlet strike. The demon sprouts bloody wings and escapes into the air, forcing Xiaoqing to warn that ground attacks cannot reach it. Luzhang orders the teacher to grip her tendon shackle, whose telekinetic extension can stretch nearly 1 kilometer. He lengthens the serpent cord while withdrawing supporting telekinesis, turning the teacher into a living projectile above the battlefield. She accelerates through the air toward the hovering vampire, while Xiaoqing launches herself from the opposite direction. Their converging attacks trap the demon between both giantesses, catching the evolved monster completely off guard again. The teacher lands the decisive strike through its defenses, sending the blood-sucking demon crashing toward the ground. As her glasses fly loose, she celebrates the successful hit, while crawling Pei can only stare in disbelief. The teacher lands safely but breathes hard after the exhausting battle, amazed that she actually defeated an evolved blood-sucking demon. Luzhang congratulates her because the victory also raised her level, though she promptly scolds him for ignoring every warning. When her strength finally fails, he catches her collapsing body, and she weakly insists one final task still remains. Nearby, P struggles upright and approaches with desperate caution, pretending their shared history should magically erase his betrayal. The teacher tells Luzong not to waste time listening, while Pei begs for another chance and offers partnership for payment. He claims supporting his family justified exploiting her loyalty, then insults Luzong for linking with such an ordinary woman. That crosses the line, and the teacher orders him upright, even as Pei whispers another disgustingly personal taunt. He boasts about her past affection and mocks Lu Zhong's luck, leaving Xiaoqing to admit he has said far too much. The teacher tolerates insults toward herself, but not her student, so her reinforced fist slams directly into Pei, driving him face-first into the shattered broken ground, while the impact overwhelms every remaining defense he possesses. Pei rockets away through the air from that single punch because insulting her student earns consequences she gladly delivers. The teacher blows across her knuckles with quiet satisfaction, then collapses backward once the adrenaline finally disappears. Xiaoqing finds her muscles, bones and organs severely strained, yet absorbing wormhole energy has finally raised the teacher's level. Meanwhile, Luzhang searches the defeated demon for equipment, discovering 5 useful orbs and several valuable transformation artifacts. One cloth-like item appears ordinary but carries strange energy, so he activates telekinesis and unfolds it like a carpet. Xiaoqing returns with the teacher and recovered loot, then admits that mysterious cloth came from a black market swindler. Luzhang uses it to condense surrounding dark matter while safely levitating the exhausted teacher above the ground. The enlarged wormhole now hangs over a major suspension bridge, and their floating cloth transports the group across its roadway. They land beside the vehicle as emergency danger grows, while Luzhang catalogs the demon's rare transformation drops. He proposes dividing the remaining orbs fairly among them, though overusing mental power immediately gives him a nosebleed. The teacher discovers her height increased by another 50 centimeters, making spare clothes from the car urgently necessary. Xiaoqing instead offers a standard adjustable combat uniform whose basic orb automatically fits any female wearer's body. Luzhang politely turns away while both giantesses change and waits until a teacher permits him to look. He lowers his hand with a noticeably embarrassed expression, only for the uniformed teacher to demand an explanation. Luzhang distracts her by presenting their recovered spoils, then argues young warriors should prioritize strong foundations over artifacts. As he speaks, his eye suddenly changes with new awareness, because only 3 demon transformation orbs remain instead of 8. Neither giantess noticed anything missing during the fight, so Luzhang secretly pockets the artifacts and hurries away. The 2 women watch him leave with very different suspicions, while the teacher calls her father about the unattended wormhole. Xiaoqing chooses not to investigate further and quietly departs, leaving the shaken city behind as night settles. Beyond town, dark cliffs conceal another isolated location, where a fortified compound stands beneath heavy clouds. Elsewhere, Luzhang rests among ruins and examines his hidden loot. The strange cloth now carries 3 crimson transformation orbs, so he carefully tests how the fabric responds. Folding the material seems to reset every artifact inside, and reopening it reveals newly refreshed equipment rewards. Luzhang repeats the folding process to confirm the result, then watches the remaining orbs change once again. He concludes the cloth can refresh wormhole-generated equipment indefinitely, producing 1 B-rank orb and an extraordinary S-rank transformation. The discovery leaves Luzhang stunned by his impossible luck. He tests the crimson artifacts through another full refresh cycle, confirming an S-rank combination that leaves no identifying trace. Besides Soul Bond, he now owns another undocumented treasure, which he names Refresh Orb before resting his exhausted mind. That night, another awakened organization begins an urgent operation, led by a silver-haired water giantess with tremendous control. Her black-clad warrior directs chains and blades through mental power, while coordinating from beneath his partner's towering stance. Their elite squad gathers inside a high-security containment chamber, discussing cooperation between Water Monarch and Shark Princess units. Their mission concerns an abnormal wormhole and a missing pursuit team, because containment breaches have multiplied more than tenfold. Red portals continue appearing throughout the supposedly secure facility, forcing the Giantess to enter another wormhole personally. She acknowledges the urgency and begins the operation immediately, knowing any escaped monster could trigger a catastrophic citywide disaster. Her warrior summons a powerful great ocean current, flooding the chamber and overwhelming the clustered red portals. He then channels another equipment orb through their mental link, transforming his partner into the armored abyss periscope Shark Princess. The aquatic giantess raises a sleek blue spear and manifests seawater that amplifies every movement and strike. Together, they surge forward to reinforce the collapsing wormholes. Meanwhile, Lu Zhang learns an A-rank weapon orb appears tomorrow and debates handling it alone or bringing an awakened partner. Secrecy wins because fewer people must know about his reincarnation. Determined to claim everything himself, he launches from the ruins, targeting the first wormhole appearing along busy Fifth Avenue. The 5-meter breach opens between downtown buildings as he arrives, and Lu Zhang dives through before pedestrians can react. Inside, dark red energy tears across a deserted office floor where a muscular rabbit guards a C-rank transformation drop. Lu Zhang steadies his stance and prepares one precise attack, then smashes the creature down before it can counter. With the victory secured, he activates his refresh orb, pulling the generated loot into its green cloth. Outside, witnesses report a warrior entered the sudden downtown breach, only for the wormhole to disappear barely 1 minute later. The street returns to normal before authorities can investigate, leaving Lu Zhang pleased that nobody survived inside to identify him. His reward begins as 3 C-rank muscle blood rabbit orbs, but repeated refreshing upgrades them into an A-rank muscle jade rabbit. C-rank artifacts sell for thousands, while B-ranks command far more, yet this cloth can repeatedly convert low rewards into A-rank treasures. Like his reincarnation and soul bond, the secret must remain hidden, so Lu Zhang immediately runs toward his second target. Another wormhole waits in the western city, considerably farther away, while his stabilized consciousness makes further visualization training possible. He crosses another quiet district as the gateway forms, and a dark red portal hangs above the buildings ahead. Crossing it transports Lu Zhang into a barren desert arena, where he charges through blowing sand toward the resident monster. A massive axe-headed creature rears up to block his path, seemingly confused to see a warrior enter without any giantess. Zhang knows equipment orbs still function independently when necessary, so he activates the A-rank muscle jade rabbit transformation. Enhanced strength flips his body forward above the monster, and a devastating jade rabbit headbutt shatters its defenses. The creature breaks apart beneath that single explosive impact, before Lu Zhang activates his reserve vampire Duke Orb. Cross-shaped blood blades finish the remaining resistance instantly, leaving the axe monster collapsed across the sand. Its reward is an A-rank Golden Heavenly Soldier Orb, a versatile weapon capable of changing form for Zhang Lu. Lu Zhang briefly dreams about collecting legendary SS-rank artifacts, then abandons greed and targets every remaining wormhole. 2 exhausting days later, the school qualification exam finally arrives. After students spend the semester awakening and gathering equipment, the flamboyant principal praises their courage through every crisis-filled trial, then officially begins qualification testing for warriors and giantesses. Among the waiting candidates, Zhang Lu silently studies the approaching examiners, while Lu Zhang remains composed beside countless nervous students. This examination represents another decisive turning point in their lives, because advancement can transform ordinary teenagers into humanity's strongest defenders. Successful candidates will enter wormholes and shape their own destinies, as 6 specialized invigilators assemble inside the testing hall. The blonde examiner Ai Wen takes her assigned position, followed by the imposing black-haired invigilator Xia Fen. Shi Meiqi joins them with an easy, confident smile, while Zhou Mengjie completes the formidable examination team. Principal Zhang Yongfeng introduces his secretary before all 600 candidates, and she predicts only 30 students will survive the opening round. Zhang Lu hears those brutal odds without showing any concern, although the principal privately worries about another embarrassing failure rate. The first challenge simply requires everyone to hold their breath, leaving candidates baffled while the examiners observe from above. Several confident students prepare themselves for an apparently effortless test, and one muscular boy immediately strains beyond his natural limits. He believes previous breathing drills guarantee him several comfortable minutes, so he proudly expects to dominate the entire opening round. Another candidate remembers monsters that hunted victims by detecting their breathing, then seals her head inside a bag to conceal every exhalation. Her strange method works as she quietly preserves fresh air, while another girl realizes equipment orbs can provide temporary protection. A wealthy candidate confidently searches his family's collection for an answer, eventually selecting a low-rank petrification ray orb from his stash. Its shape-shifting effect can transform the wielder into solid stone, so he petrifies himself and completely eliminates his need for oxygen. Other students also activate whatever basic equipment their powers permit, yet the principal remains unimpressed by their solitary solutions. Iwen knows the true test measures cooperation between linked partners, and repeatedly marks isolated candidates as failures on her list. The secretary notices nobody has fully understood that hidden purpose until one nervous warrior reaches toward his reluctant female partner. She pulls away sharply and refuses his unexplained assistance, forcing him to reveal a small terracotta head orb. Their wary expressions show neither partner completely trusts the other, but the boy begins explaining how his unusual equipment works. She finally accepts his plan and prepares for transformation, then activates the orb while everyone else struggles separately. The terracotta head orb creates a hollow earthen chamber, allowing both partners to shelter safely within its sealed interior. Iwen recognizes their shared air supply as genuine teamwork, while another experienced pair quietly prepares its own coordinated solution. The black-haired girl places one hand upon her partner, and green energy links their bodies through a synchronized technique. Their success finally teaches the remaining candidates cooperation is essential, so warriors hurriedly begin joining hands with compatible giantesses. Lu Zhang alone walks calmly through the scrambling crowd, making Iwen wonder why he still lacks a partner. Zhang Lu notices her teacher's concern but remains strangely patient, as Lu Zhang continues forward without attempting any breathing trick. His composure draws suspicious glances from nearby struggling candidates, yet he ignores everyone and approaches one particular student. Even the petrified boy watches Lu Zhang's unexpected choice, when he finally stops directly beside the solitary Zhang Lu. Lu Zhang openly invites her to become his examination partner, leaving Zhang Lu briefly silent beneath her long dark hair. She turns toward him with guarded curiosity instead of hostility, while his invitation echoes through the increasingly desperate hall. Nearby partners Lin Roi and Zhang Qining stare at them together, unable to understand why Lu Zhang risked wasting valuable points. Several other candidates also react with immediate surprise, especially the petrified boy who cannot hear Lu Zhang's strategy. Zhang Lu nevertheless steps closer and considers the offer seriously, while Lu Zhang repeats his question with an easy smile. Zhang Qining notices Lu Zhang has never held his breath, prompting wild guesses about hidden orbs and thought control abilities. Meanwhile, the black-haired candidate questions her partner's chosen equipment, but neither understands the extraordinary method Lu Zhang is preparing. Across the arena, scattered pairs continue improvising under pressure, including two students who build an enormous transparent water tank. Li Yao and Chen Yu enter the tank beside connected machines, planning to communicate telepathically while conserving their most important resource. Their equipment stores water, electricity, and massive amounts of gas, creating a sealed environment controlled entirely through their mental power. Chen Yu checks every supply before initiating their unusual system, then activates electrolysis to separate oxygen directly from the water. A violent chemical reaction blasts both partners backward inside, convincing nearby students that their dangerous solution may explode. Chen Yu emerges coughing behind a protective breathing mask because his unstable resource orb nearly creates a miniature volcanic disaster. Li Yao then realizes Lu Zhang has spoken without being eliminated, exposing a crucial loophole hidden inside the principal's instructions. Far from disapproving, Zhang Yufeng celebrates these first rule breakers, believing unconventional thinkers are exactly what humanity desperately needs. Beyond wormholes, natural laws collapse and monsters appear unpredictably, so only warriors who challenge assumptions can prevent future catastrophes. Lu Zhang now faces Zhang Lu while everyone else chases points, knowing the trial actually tests whether isolated students seek partners. In his former timeline, numerous failures found disappointing ordinary careers, and the qualification doorway permanently separated them from awakened society. Given another chance, Lu Zhang refuses to watch those hopes disappear, yet his sincere invitation receives only Zhang Lu's indifferent shrug. She rejects him immediately and turns away without explanation, though Lu Zhang expected winning her trust would never be simple. Zhang Lu nevertheless notices his persistent attention across countless school days, during which she dominated academics, combat theory, and physical training. Her only true weakness has always been communicating with people, because quiet natural details capture her attention far more easily. Zhang Lu ignores classmates while studying insects beneath their feet, and happily climbs trees merely to observe nesting birds. Unlike other teenagers, she prefers wilderness discoveries over clothes or makeup, although her relentless physical training keeps her exceptionally powerful. Lu Zhang considers using those unusual interests to spark communication when Wang Qiang suddenly grabs his shoulder and interrupts. The arrogant rival demands permission before anyone touches Zhang Lu, but Lu Zhang dismisses his childish interference with open contempt. Wang Xiang attacks, accusing him of constantly provoking stronger opponents, then boasts that rare talent guarantees his own legendary future. He produces a C-rank explosive ducky orb and threatens immediate elimination, making Lu Zhang realize Zhang Lu could leave before deciding. Lu Zhang therefore proposes settling everything after both choose partners, catching the aggressive Wang Xiang completely unprepared for restraint. Zhang Lu pauses instead of continuing toward the arena exit, and genuine curiosity replaces her previously detached expression. Lu Zhang realizes competition has finally captured her wandering attention, so he accepts either a solo duel or partnered battle. Wang Xiang grins eagerly at the chance to humiliate him, then loudly challenges Lu Zhang before the entire candidate crowd. The invigilators watch as his raised hand signals open confrontation, until Xiafen unexpectedly volunteers herself with a cheerful greeting. She announces Wang Xiang as her partner and promises support, making Iwen protest that teachers cannot join student battles. Iwen urges the principal to prevent this obvious interference, but Zhang Yongfeng considers unpredictable conflict another valuable assessment. Xiafen asks Wang Xiang whether their abilities can synchronize longer, revealing to Lu Zhang that his rival gained an examiner's support. She teasingly redirects Wang Xiang away from the younger Zhang Lu, although her domineering approach immediately enrages the arrogant student. Xiafen threatens to drain his mental power unless he cooperates, then calmly demands his agreement before releasing her grip. Wang Xiang can only endure the humiliating control in silence, while Iwen recalls Xiafen's history of distracting talented students. Persistent rumors connect the glamorous examiner with wealthy, powerful partners, yet her overwhelming confidence keeps challengers from questioning her directly. The examination team begins leaving before Iwen suddenly objects, because she wants to help Lu Zhang without any partner. Zhang Yongfeng warns that their untested bond could prove dangerous, recalling how teacher-student links previously created serious family disputes. Iwen hesitates to reveal her secret connection with Lu Zhang, fearing Pei Yongji would misunderstand their emergency link from yesterday. She suppresses that embarrassment and forces herself back into professional composure, while Lu Zhang waits confidently inside the silent arena. He smiles because Wang Xiang has badly underestimated his strength, especially after Iwen's enhancement raised him beyond level 30. Before the duel begins, Zhang Lu raises one decisive hand, impatiently ordering Lu Zhang to begin their partnership immediately. He promises their combined battle will become far more interesting, then reaches forward to demonstrate the mysterious power he concealed. Zhang Lu catches his hand with astonishingly quick reflexes, but Lu Zhang gently touches her forehead with two glowing fingers. He activates the soul bond orb and initiates a mental link, sending concentrated pink energy directly through Zhang Lu's mind. Her dark eye widens as unfamiliar blue patterns suddenly awaken, while Lu Zhang feels himself choking inside an invisible ocean. His consciousness sinks helplessly beneath endless crushing mental pressure, dragging Zhang Lu's linked spiritual form into the depths beside him. Lu Zhang finally understands why nobody linked with her before, because her mental body lies submerged beneath a boundless consciousness sea. Every person's inner ocean contains memories, thoughts, knowledge, and complex emotions, beginning small and crystal clear during innocent infancy. With age, accumulated experiences make that mental sea turbulent, while exceptional elders may fill only part of their consciousness space. Zhang Lu's ocean somehow occupies every corner and overwhelms Lu Zhang, trapping her awareness inward while weakening all perception beyond herself. He wonders whether she has endured this isolation throughout her life, then reaches through the darkness and firmly clasps her hand. Their linked fingers create one fragile anchor within the endless sea, as Lu Zhang promises to become Zhang Lu's eyes outside. He unleashes telekinesis and forms a protective barrier around them, allowing Zhang Lu's consciousness to rise above the crushing current. She awakens inside the suddenly quiet sanctuary with stunned confusion, while Lu Zhang explains his barrier now shields her thoughts. He asks what she feels after escaping the endless mental noise, and Zhang Lu marvels at experiencing true silence for once. She innocently wonders whether he somehow blocked her hearing, before realizing their spiritual bodies remain awkwardly tangled together. Lu Zhang promises future battles if she accepts the partnership, then directly asks whether she will fight beside him. Zhang Lu agrees because his strange promise sounds genuinely interesting, though she still expects to enjoy watching him lose. Lu Zhang instead offers equipment orbs prepared specifically for her, making Zhang Lu wonder whether he always planned this partnership. She sees their link as beneficial and questions his nervous denial, since countless admirers already praise her beauty and perfect grades. Lu Zhang remembers witnessing one particularly memorable confession at school, when an eager student presented Zhang Lu with a love letter. The hopeful admirer approached boldly and demanded her immediate attention, but Zhang Lu responded with the same detached, unreadable stare. When he persisted, she launched into an effortless spinning maneuver, sending the untouched letter fluttering harmlessly through the air. Her athletic movement carried her cleanly beyond the student's reach, while exposing his embarrassing rejection before their observing classmates. Zhang Lu finished the exchange with another graceful evasive leap and kicked the falling letter away without breaking stride. Remembering that scene makes Lu Zhang study her unusual reactions, before admitting she becomes increasingly interesting whenever understood properly. He gently pats her head like calming a wary kitten, surprised that their mental connection now flows more smoothly than expected. Wang Xiang interprets their closeness as Lu Zhang stealing his target and boasts about purchasing expensive B-rank orbs for the duel. He displays twin explosive duckies while anticipating an easy victory, whereas Zhang Lu admits she could never afford such equipment. Lu Zhang calmly reveals orbs obtained from repeatedly clearing wormholes, shocking Wang Xiang with energy signatures far beyond ordinary B-rank gear. The rival immediately accuses him of stealing those priceless artifacts, then assumes Lu Zhang secretly borrows them to impress girls. Ignoring him, Lu Zhang lets Zhonglu choose her preferred category, offering either a transformation orb or powerful weapon orb. Zhonglu struggles with the unfamiliar decision for several moments, until Lu Zhang suggests choosing blindly like opening a mystery box. Their simple hand game selects one artifact from his palm, and Lu Zhang accepts whichever orb falls from his hand. She catches the palm-marked sphere before it reaches the floor, activating a link with the A-rank Muscle Jade Rabbit orb. Her striking rabbit transformation looks completely different from Lu's version, while Wang Xiang recognizes his opponent's advanced dual processing ability. Zhang Lu takes position behind her partner with sharpened red eyes, as Wang Xiang launches two flaming explosive duckies simultaneously. Red mental threads connect both projectiles before they reach their target, and Xiafen converts their combined power into a flaming spear. Identical orbs evolve together, producing strength comparable to B-rank equipment, though Xiafen playfully experiments instead of attacking immediately. Zhang Lu's enhanced instincts suddenly detect an invisible approaching danger, while Lu Zhang braces as she reacts without warning. She grabs her partner and leaps away from the battlefield, prompting Wang Xiang to mock their apparently cowardly retreat. A colossal explosion instantly engulfs the space they abandoned, leaving Lu Zhang shocked by the perfectly timed escape. Escaped hydrogen from Li Yao and Chen Yu's apparatus ignites, but Zhang Lu's warning saves them while Wang Xiang suffers minor scratches. Xiafen emerges scorched yet still gripping her burning spear, as the Resource Orb team hurriedly plans a stronger replacement container. Lu Zhang realizes Zhang Lu sensed the hydrogen threat beforehand, confirming her transformation grants extraordinary danger perception and speed. Her battlefield instincts impress him despite her limited combat experience, while Xiafen angrily accuses the pair of plotting against her. She orders Wang Xiang into battle mode and prepares retaliation, gathering the surrounding flames into an enormous blazing. Wang Xiang commands both explosive duckies to begin their counterattack, while Lu Zhang urgently warns his partner to avoid contact. Zhang Lu springs high above the flaming projectiles without hesitation, and both animated bombs streak harmlessly beneath her body. She lands with enough enhanced force to crack the arena floor, then redirects that momentum into another explosive upward leap. Xiafen barely raises her staff before Zhang Lu closes in, stunned by the transformed student's extraordinary speed and precision. Zhang Lu grips the long weapon before Xiafen can reposition, preventing the experienced examiner from controlling distance with superior reach. She pivots around the staff and attacks from above, twisting her entire body into a powerful close-range takedown. The impact destroys Xiafen's stance and forces her backward, while Zhang Lu swings through without releasing the captured staff. Furious at being challenged by a student, Xiafen resists fiercely, but Zhang Lu silently changes her grip and attack angle. Her sudden adjustment catches the examiner completely off balance, allowing Zhang Lu to flip Xiafen over her shoulder. The glamorous teacher crashes heavily onto the arena floor, and Lu Zhang watches his new partner dismantle her alone. Wang Xiang floods the arena with duckies to restrict her movement, but Zhang Lu exploits Xiafen's weak close-range offense first. She throws the examiner across the floor before bombs surround them, leaving Wang Xiang unable to accept such overwhelming physical dominance. Lu Zhang finally decides the chaotic exhibition has continued long enough and slams both opponents downward using invisible telekinetic pressure. The arena trembles beneath a massive force that nobody can see, making Xiafen question how any student reached level 30. Iwen realizes Lu Zhang has publicly exposed his hidden strength, while Principal Zhang Yongfeng celebrates another astonishing surprise. Iwen remembers Wang Xiang's documented talent but lacks Lu Zhang's records, prompting discussion about candidates for an upcoming inter-school tournament. Major guilds will attend, making selection an exceptional career opportunity as Lu Zhang stands calmly above his defeated opponents. He ends the spectacle and reveals the breathing challenge's hidden truth, explaining that qualification selects independent thinkers for dangerous wormhole missions. Inside isolated realms, following orders blindly can become fatal, and the principal never actually declared that testing had begun. Candidates realize ordinary breathing or conversation could not eliminate anyone. Although furious, Wang Xiang insists Lu Zhang is deceiving everybody. His protest ends with another humiliating impact against the floor, while Lu Zhang explains wormhole entry always requires a partner. Finding temporary cooperation therefore mattered more than obeying misleading instructions, and Iwen realizes he understood everything from the beginning. She reminds everyone that even teachers must respect this principle, then watches the candidates reconsider every decision made during testing. Several students had already noticed the principal's carefully worded loophole when Zhang Lu senses something far more dangerous overhead. One candidate mistakes the descending phenomenon for a special reward, but another recognizes dark matter capable of forming wormholes. Lu Zhang identifies it as purified energy giantesses can safely absorb, as black clouds spread across the entire examination ceiling. The promised final phase finally arrives above the waiting candidates, and dense darkness begins falling like supernatural rain. Lu Zhang stabilizes Zhang Lu's mind while communicating through telepathy, instructing her to absorb the energy through skin without breathing. Zhang acknowledges him and prepares to follow those precautions, yet curiosity immediately draws her attention toward the strange substance. Lu Zhang covers her mouth before she can recklessly taste it, holding his impulsive partner still while the energy descends. Her restless curiosity reminds Lu Zhang of an excitable cat, chasing danger merely because something unfamiliar crosses its path. He knows that instinct could eventually bring disastrous consequences, so he restrains Zhonglu until she regains concentration. Her rabbit transformation shifts awkwardly during their brief struggle, and Lu Zhang realizes its accessories snagged against his clothing. Zhonglu tries investigating the distraction, despite his warning, but he releases her and redirects attention toward the examination. A gigantic telekinetic hand rises above Lu Zhang's outstretched arm, gathering descending dark matter inside its luminous grasp. He channels that purified energy safely into Zhonglu's body, causing black currents to coil around her transformed figure. The absorbed power rapidly increases her size and physical strength, while successful candidates emerge as towering silhouettes throughout the hall. Lu Zhang notices far more students passing than in his timeline, improving their chances before labyrinth trials and wormhole exploration. Once absorption finishes, he ends their temporary equipment link, determined to exploit his rebirth advantage for even greater strength. A sudden system response flashes across Lu Zhang's focused eye, announcing that his partner's transformed height has reached 8 meters. The first examination phase concludes with unexpectedly dramatic results, and Zhang Yongfeng praises students who endured the energy absorption. He orders every examiner to assist the remaining struggling candidates, leaving Ai Wen disturbed by his manipulative testing methods. The secretary also silently condemns whoever designed such twisted rewards, while Zhou Mengji argues timid warriors would endanger their partners later. Shi Meiqi agrees because unpredictable wormhole disasters occur every day, when a frightened scream suddenly interrupts the teacher's discussion. One newly enlarged giantess nearly crushes her startled partner accidentally, and uncontrolled transformations cause panic throughout the crowded arena. Zhanglu's red eyes sparkle as she studies her changed body, enjoying the overwhelming size and power without any visible fear. Lu Zhang looks upward at his now gigantic partner, until she casually pats his head with one enormous hand. Zhang leases him for appearing ridiculously small beside her, then badly misunderstands what partnership support actually requires. Lu Zhang hurriedly explains that bonds cannot be forced upon people, but Zhang Lu applies ruthless survival logic to human relationships. She assumes greater strength automatically gives her authority over him, prompting Lu Zhang to reject that dangerous conclusion immediately. Zhang Lu lifts him effortlessly before he can retreat, and Lu Zhang nervously reminds her they remain inside school. Her towering body blocks every easy escape from the misunderstanding, while Lu Zhang desperately searches for a safe explanation. Zhang Lu recalls simplistic sayings about affection growing after commitment, then confidently declares Lu Zhang her permanent chosen partner. He discovers she learned relationship behavior by watching neighborhood cats, making her bizarre conclusions surprisingly innocent, despite their forcefulness. Lu Zhang redirects her enthusiasm toward becoming an unbeatable combat duo, and Zhanglu eagerly anticipates proving herself inside wormholes. Wang Xiang interrupts again and objects to their agreement, claiming only he can control Zhanglu after her awakening. Lu Zhang calmly asks whether his defeated rival already failed qualification, but Wang Xiang boasts that a powerful guild recruited him earlier. Zhanglu becomes curious because guilds provide resources and specialized training, although she rejects Wang Xiang since her partner is already chosen. Beside them, Lu Zhang senses the living dark material secretly stirring, as a shadowy tendril curls from beneath his clothing. Zhanglu proposes that both partners investigate guild membership together, carrying Lu Zhang away as their qualification journey moves forward. Zhanglu compares her loyalty to animals that keep one companion, convincing Lu Zhang that her strange intentions remain fundamentally sincere. He accepts their partnership and prepares for the next challenge, when an enormous wormhole suddenly tears open above the arena. Its 50-meter diameter sends every student fleeing across the floor, but Zhang Lu excitedly charges toward the unexpected portal. Lu Zhang recognizes this disaster never occurred during his former timeline, and fears his actions have already transformed future events. He tries escaping before the unstable wormhole expands farther. His dark tendrils reach downward and drag nearby candidates upward. Lu Zhang grabs Zhang Lu's hand and urges immediate retreat, yet she refuses because entering promises a genuine battle. The giantess seizes him and leaps directly toward the portal, warning Lu Zhang not to blame her if danger overwhelms them. Zhang Lu reminds him that warriors exist specifically to fight, while declaring her desire to challenge truly powerful monsters. The wormhole captures both partners and pulls them through darkness, dropping them high above a vast unfamiliar mountain valley. They plummet together while Lu Zhang questions her reckless motivation, and Zhang Lu asks what purpose drives him into battle. Lu Zhang answers that he must change the future and save Earth, renewing his determination as the ground rushes closer below. He vows to support Zhang Lu and prevent world destruction, moments before both partners crash into the rocky valley floor. Lu Zhang immediately calls for them to face every monster together, and Zhonglu enthusiastically approves his sudden fighting spirit. Her massive arm catches him during their chaotic landing, then accidentally sends Lu Zhang tumbling across the terrain. He lands safely against her transformed body despite the impact, before both sense a far greater presence approaching. Zhonglu stares upward at something impossibly huge beyond them and braces for combat while Lu Zhang regains his footing. A horned giant monster rises as a shadow over the valley. Meanwhile, the unstable wormhole remains open inside the school arena. Principal Zhang Yongfeng orders teachers to rescue every missing student, and Iwen demands to know why disaster struck their school. He directs staff members to summon official backup immediately, because 600 students entered a dangerous level 30 wormhole. The secretary questions whether Zhang Yongfeng can truly return himself, but he declares warriors must fight until their final moment. Zhang Yongfeng charges forward and drives his metal staff downward, revealing the legendary Holy Light Rod sealing the wormhole entrance. Staff recognize the SS rank artifact from the powerful Holy Light Guild when a crystal-masked stranger steps out to block their rescue. She refuses to let anyone interfere with her hidden plan, prompting Zhang Yongfeng to demand the masked intruder's identity. Iwen recognizes the woman from stories about elite guild leadership, and Zhang Yongfeng identifies her as Holy Light's vice chairman. The stranger supposedly hides her face so justice attracts recruits, though she privately admits the elaborate mask feels uncomfortable. Both her disguise and stolen sealing rod appear completely genuine, while she casually claims responsibility for taking the artifact. Zhang Yongfeng doubts anyone could rob a top 10 guild so easily until his secretary warns student survival odds are falling rapidly. He refuses to sacrifice another child and prepares for combat despite the secretary questioning whether his aging body can manage. The masked woman eagerly anticipates witnessing his famous Silver Storm as Zhang Yongfeng establishes a mental equipment link alone. He activates Wings of Gale to summon a devastating vortex, then adds B-rank Silver Star Sand for cutting power. Lesser Anima temporarily grants full combat functions to those materials, creating a roaring sand tornado around the confrontation. Zhang Yongfeng challenges the intruder to face him directly, while the sealed red wormhole pulses dangerously behind her. She questions how he can fight effectively without a Giantess, but his confident smile reveals considerable power remains. The masked woman notices he retains only limited combat energy, then cruelly mentions the partner Zhang Yongfeng lost years ago. Enraged, the principal sends Silver Storm crashing toward her, but she deploys a radiant holy light barrier instantly. Razor-sharp sand whips repeatedly against the glowing shield, tracking its target automatically through the storm's spinning currents. Zhang Yongfeng pours more mental power into the relentless assault, yet the barrier holds beneath the spectacular golden collision. The masked vice chairman mocks his diminished strength as insufficient, while secretly preparing another threat beyond his line of sight. Inside the wormhole, a level 50 dark wolf suddenly emerges, landing before Lu Zhang and Zhang Lu with crushing force. The giant beast immediately charges their seemingly exposed position, but Zhang Lu gleefully warns it against lowering its guard. The dark wolf snaps enormous tusks toward both partners, forcing Lu Zhang to dodge its first crushing lunge. He counters with telekinetic force aimed against the creature's flank, driving the monster headfirst through rock and shattered earth. It recovers immediately and nearly catches Zhang Lu under one paw, but she springs upward beyond its sweeping claws. Lu Zhang warns that the beast attacks with incredible speed, as it tracks Zhang Lu's aerial movement without difficulty. He quickly establishes another mental link and deploys stronger artifacts, combining the Vampire Duke and Golden Heavenly Soldier orbs. The Dark Wolf charges again before their transformation fully stabilizes, while Crimson Wings carry Zhang Lu and her partner skyward. She celebrates her new flight ability but ignores his discomfort, then drops Lu Zhang when he requests greater personal control. Zhang Lu dives directly toward the wolf at tremendous speed, and the enraged monster opens its jaws to intercept her. Vampire-enhanced eyes predict its movement during the final approach, allowing Zhang Lu to unleash a crimson crossblade. Twin energy arcs carve across the dark wolf's chest, staggering its massive body beneath the clean intersecting strike. The wounded monster remains airborne despite deep glowing cuts, so Zhang Lu fires another crossblade from above. Repeated crimson slashes tear through its hardened fur and defenses, while Lu Zhang lands safely upon the rocky ground below. He warns that Dark Wolf's overpowered giantesses at equal levels as Zhang Lu floods the sky with additional cutting arcs. Lu Zhang reminds her that Golden Heavenly Soldier changes into weapons, but she insists on finishing the monster her own way. He shouts for Zhang Lu to use the provided artifact, and she casually postpones listening until some undefined later moment. Zhang Lu slams into the beast behind another crimson impact, making Lu Zhang briefly believe her reckless direct strike succeeded. Instead, the Dark Wolf tears through the attack and countercharges, battering against her spread vampire wings with tremendous force. Lu Zhang pours psychokinesis into their link to reinforce her, blasting both combatants apart before the wolf can crush her. Zhang Lu regains balance and darts away across the valley, while the injured predator pursues her relentlessly from behind. Their chase becomes a vertical blur above cliffs and trees, leaving Lu Zhang frustrated that she still ignores her weapon orb. Zhang Lu turns back with growing excitement in her golden eyes, just as the Dark Wolf launches another ground-shaking charge. She studies its posture instead of immediately avoiding danger, then drops low and begins running on all fours. Giantess and Monster race across the valley with matching movements as Zhang discovers this animal stance greatly increases speed. The Dark Wolf accelerates behind her with relentless predatory focus, but she pivots abruptly and drives straight into its guard. A close-range blow strikes beneath the monster's open jaws, before Zhang springs away from its desperate counterattack. The wounded Dark Wolf roars and prepares another savage rush, while Lu Zhang finally understands her refusal to use vampire skills. Zhang Lu instead reshapes crimson energy around her speeding body, deliberately copying the Dark Wolf's own aggressive attack style. Her imitation sends the monster crashing through a rocky cliff, proving she mastered its movements after observing them briefly. Broken stone rains across the valley after that devastating collision, until Lu Zhang warns that wounded Dark Wolves summon moonlight. Zhang Lu calmly asks how much stronger the creature becomes and learns its speed and power will both double. Rather than retreat, she manifests black claws around both hands, while Lu Zhang waits to see her chosen weapon form. The Dark Wolf erupts from rubble with one enormous paw, its healed body swelling beneath the summoned lunar power. A thunderous howl summons pale moonlight over the battlefield, and the entire valley darkens beneath its supernatural transformation. Lunar energy gathers while the wolf's silhouette grows more monstrous, creating a massive shadow that towers above both partners. Zhang Lu finally asks what weapon she should create, but the empowered wolf attacks before Lu Zhang can answer. She recognizes its familiar approach and prepares a direct counter, as golden heavenly soldier material flows through her blackened hands. Zhang Lu shapes the adaptable artifact into a long staff, delighting Lu Zhang because it can combine two materials effectively. She grips the finished weapon and meets the charging monster, her sharpened gaze promising an immediate end to their duel. One brilliant golden swing cuts through the wolf's empowered assault, leaving Zhang Lu strangely unimpressed by the final resistance. The enormous impact tears another crater through the valley, and she calls the defeated monster disappointing as the dust settles. Lu Zhang marvels that one strike felled a level 30 Dark Wolf. Although Zhang Lu visibly tires while leaning upon her staff, she still smiles through the blood and dust covering her, prompting Lu Zhang to suggest cleaning herself before continuing. Vampire Duke energy can absorb club spilled blood and restore strength, so Zhang Lu closes her eyes and begins recovery. Crimson traces rise from the battlefield toward her transformed body, gathering overhead into a dense sphere of recovered energy. She absorbs that stored power and rapidly restores her condition, while intuition reveals one final use for her staff. Zhang Lu drives its tip directly into the suspended blood sphere, channeling the collected energy through her adaptable weapon. She imagines combining it with mental slashes against stronger monsters, and the staff reshapes itself around her darkened hand. New weapon knowledge settles into Zhang Lu's satisfied expression, before she asks where other monsters or endangered classmates remain. Exhaustion suddenly overtakes her despite that determined question, and Zhang Lu collapses backward into her partner's arms. She quietly thanks Lu Zhang for catching and supporting her, surprising him with rare warmth after their chaotic first battle. Zhang Lu admits she sensed how deeply he worried about her. While Lu Zhang calls their victory a successful first battle, she apologizes for stubbornly ignoring his earlier weapon instructions, acknowledging that her reckless experimentation could have endangered them both. Before finishing, Zhang Lu loses consciousness against Lu Zhang's shoulder, so he summons cool blue restorative flames around one hand. Lu Zhang steadies his breathing and controls their gentle output, placing the healing energy carefully above Zhang Lu's head. He explains that supporting an exhausted partner is simply his responsibility, but she sleepily wonders whether their connection means something more. Her searching golden eyes make Lu Zhang suddenly uncomfortable, while she studies his hesitation with quiet growing suspicion. He reassures her through the link and continues restoration, urging Zhang Lu to remain still while her strength returns. The transformation finally dissolves as vampire energy fades away, surrounding both partners with a thick cloud of harmless smoke. Zhang Lu's restored curiosity immediately turns the recovery into playful chaos, scattering equipment and improvised distractions around their resting place. Lu Zhang pinches her cheek to stop another reckless experiment, then lends her clothing while she protests his strict supervision. Her exhausted body temporarily shrinks as Lu Zhang carries her, while Zhang Lu distracts herself by watching nearby wildlife. Lu Zhang offers food and explains unfamiliar human inventions patiently, sorting available supplies from his equipment storage as they rest. Zhang Lu stubbornly turns away whenever his concern becomes obvious, then sits quietly among scattered orbs and recovered materials. Lu Zhang insists his strictness only protects his impulsive partner, encouraging her to find allies who accept that stubborn nature. He promises she will become strong enough to fear nobody, and hopes someone can always keep pace beside her. Zhang Lu finally closes her eyes and appears ready to rest, so Lu Zhang offers telekinetic transport while searching for classmates. Instead, another eccentric idea suddenly lights Zhang Lu's face, leaving her partner uncertain what she intends to construct. She combines cord and fabric into a crude airborne rig, then extends the line across the open valley below. Zhang Lu happily orders Lu Zhang to run and provide lift, using her makeshift glider to survey the region from above. She soon spots clusters of stranded students across the landscape, landscape, while Wang Xiang realizes monsters are surrounding weaker candidates. Xiafen urges him toward the dense forest before attacks begin, but numerous dark wolves charge from every direction at once. Jiang Qinning steps forward and promises to protect nearby students, as another partnered pair identifies several level 30 monsters approaching. Li Yao and Chen Yu prepare their remaining improvised explosives, while a confident fighter offers to distract the advancing pack. One dark wolf breaks through and nearly catches Wang Xiang, forcing him to order every scattered candidate into one group. The terracotta head orb expands into a huge protective dome, sheltering students and transportation equipment inside its earthen walls. A female candidate blasts incoming monsters away from the entrance, though repeated impacts punch dangerous holes through the structure. Trapped defenders watch those cracks spread with growing fear, while one breach opens directly onto the battlefield outside. A dark wolf spots vulnerable students through the fresh opening and lunges toward them before anyone can rebuild it. More wolves surround the dome as its defenses rapidly collapse, making Wang Xiang demand every available combat orb immediately. He receives only weak low-ranked equipment from frightened classmates, yet prepares to hold the monsters back long enough for escape. Xiafen silently establishes a mental link with Wang Xiang, while angrily rejecting his disrespectful nickname during their crisis. 5 dark wolves advance as surrounded students desperately call for help, and one resourceful warrior injects chemicals into an improvised explosive. He seals the completed device moments before enemies reach them. Then his partner flips overhead and throws it into the pack. A violent explosion consumes the charging wolves and shakes everyone, briefly convincing the exhausted students that their desperate plan succeeded. The inventor celebrates until he notices movement inside the smoke, where a dark wolf emerges almost completely unharmed by combustion. More monsters close in while candidates plead with Shi Fen, so she launches forward wielding her crimson flaming spear. Wang Xiang watches helplessly as the battle overwhelms their formation, and a sudden attack leaves his arm severely wounded. The pack towers around him before anyone can intervene, until brilliant blue energy crashes between students and wolves. One monster recoils as cool flames spread across the battlefield, revealing Lu Zhang arriving beneath a towering aura of power. He calmly gathers telekinesis while assessing every threatened classmate, and the enraged dark wolves charge their unexpected rescuer together. Zhanglu descends beside him in her restored vampire transformation, dismissing the entire snarling pack as unbearably noisy, before one sweeping strike blasts every attacking wolf away.